Good evening. Good evening all. Hope you can all hear me okay. We are live. And thank you for joining. As you can see, it's just me, but Tom is just joining now. And we've got a special guest in a minute. So Tom, I know you've just been eating, haven't you? You had a takeaway that's turned up late. It's drippy.
Can I just apologise to everyone who thinks there's a special guest like Chris Meckley or Mike Paletta or something coming on? They've tuned in tonight, buzzing from work, tuned in all day, and it's me. Sorry about that.
So for those who don't know who are you?
I'm an idiot, basically. Got into the hobby a couple of years ago, and that's it. Loved it ever since. We met in a bar once on a date night, random date. Don't drink, mate. Definitely wasn't you.
Look like you.
Thank you.
Right, so you are Drippy Reef Geek, as it says in the title.
Yeah. Thank my missus for that name.
Okay. And what are you doing now?
So came up today to the day off work. Aquafest tomorrow in Leeds.
Correct.
Followed by...
We're going to go to Kraken and have a look at Kraken and a couple of other shops in the area, hopefully, if we've got time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And see if he can take a little bit of northern goodness back down to the south with him. That is the idea.
So have you got your poly box and that to take some frags back to Essex?
Yeah.
Matt the Pratt has anyway.
Matt the Pratt has. Yeah, he has. Yeah. One of the guys has.
It's a good guy. Matt's your man. Yeah.
So you got loads of cash in you then, Ryland?
I wouldn't say loads. I don't want to buy loads and loads and loads. A couple of nice bits will do me at the moment. My tank is not exactly, not been the most stable thing, has it? Do you know what I mean?
No,
it's getting there.
You've got your nutrients where you want them, haven't you now?
I made a couple of idiotic leaks over the last 2 months. Trace elements, blind dosing, just stupid stuff. And paid the price for it. Most things stripped, some things survived. And spent the last, it's got to be 8 weeks, isn't it? At least.
We spoke of last year, didn't we, about carbon dosing. You want to know a bit about it, and I talked to you about it, and then you've started doing it, and what are your parameters now?
Nothing.
Pretty much.
Zero.
Yeah. You've bottomed out now, have you?
Everything well. The Zeo's taken over. So I'm on the Zeo train after speaking to Tom and reading, listening and learning and watching and everything I can about it. It's mate, I'll tell you what swung it for me. I've always struggled with phosphate. Phosphate has always been nitrates. I was never too fussed about, but they were never astronomical. But phosphate, I just couldn't. I had one reactor, I had two reactors, I had one reactor, I had a media bag, I had this, I had that. I can never ever get it stable. Never in some kind of range of 0.04 to 0.08, or it was always up and down like a
seesaw.
So when I read about the Zeo, it literally, when something you think, blimey, that sounds just literally made for me, as long as I can follow the system. And it is, mate, I had to go out and buy a diary for it. First time in my life I've ever had a diary, and it's for a fish tank.
You said that was good for you, didn't you?
It's massive, because otherwise I'm an airhead. It'll go in there and it'll float straight out the other one. So
what's the diary for then? I'm just intrigued. Like all of a sudden you've gone from complete chaos to now a sense of organisation.
Well, when Ian basically, he basically asked me when I started speaking to him. I think I was just honest, wasn't I? He said, "How's your tank?" And I was like, "Crap." I was like, "It looks crap."
Yeah.
So, what's your structure? What's your maintenance? What's your this? What's your that?
What's the plan? What's the goal?
Yeah. There was no plan. Don't worry. There was no plan. The goal was for everyone a nice reef tank that you're proud of.
Yeah.
But the plan of action in terms of what's your routine, there weren't one. And the worse the tank got, the less I could be asked to do. Sorry, the less I could be bothered to do any maintenance. Do you know what I mean? That rower that needs changing on the Monday, because my tank looks crap anyway, I'll do it tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? The water change, I'm a little bit tired tonight, I'll do it tomorrow. Glass needs scraping, looks crap anyway, do it tomorrow. So there was no real, and I'm someone, mate, I need the structure of a 5-year-old child, do you know what I mean, in reefing and in life. So it's
true.
That is true, yeah. No problem saying that. So having everything written down, and particularly this is the Zeo, is literally, you know, when you follow their system, it is certain bottles that you need 5 drops of that, 10 drops of that on that week, 0.5 of that in the morning, 0.5 in the evening, alternated over you know. So without a diary, mate, I'd have flopped, wouldn't I? Do you know what I mean? And it's just helped me, mate, because now I can, when I've got it all written down, it sounds so stupid to say, but when you've got it all written down there, it's like I can still think. And
I think the thing is as well,
manageable.
You saw quite quickly a result for your efforts.
Yeah.
Because quite often in this hobby, and we've all been, you know, guilty of this, me included, that we get impatient. Never mind coral's not growing quick enough. We get impatient with things not changing fast enough, or, you know, elevating, or, you know, going down as quickly as we'd like. So we change to a different system.
Yeah.
Follow the next craze. And to be fair to him, he has listened to me and he's followed it, and it's paid dividends in the sense now that he's now worrying about them not being too low and not high enough and not too high. So he's in a situation now. You had heavy elements, didn't you? Heavy metals. Sorry,
heavy metals.
He's had to get rid of.
Yeah.
We've got rid of now systematically through water changes and a few other things that you've done.
Yeah.
Bit of jiggery pokery, but it's took about 6 weeks now, 8 weeks, and he's got a tank now that's established for him to go back to down the SPS route, which is what he wants to do. So
well, you say that.
Oh,
no, it is. But mate, do you know what? It's like I said to you, it's a byproduct of the fish I keep. Do you know what I mean? I never ever wanted an SPS dominated tank, but I wanted angelfish. Spent a load of money on nice hammers and frog spawns and this and that, and they're just eating it in front of my face. So then you go, well, I'm sick and tired of throwing money down the drain.
Yeah.
You've got, you know, because I love the angelfish so much, and I've got 3 now. I've got the Regal, the Majestic, and the Emperor juvenile. Nice. But you kind of either keep throwing money down a drain in terms of buying hammers and buying frog spawns and this and that,
or you buy something else.
You have to make a change and go, well, it looks like I'll have to go this route then, which
I'll change the fish.
Yeah, no, I ain't changing the fish, mate. That ain't an option. No chance.
Well, if you need any SPS and tester ones, I've got some plating Monty, got purple, got green, and got some Hystrix.
Bless you,
so
mate.
There's 3 pieces that are fairly easy to look after.
2 have survived the metal onslaught. I don't know how, but they have, and they seem to be doing all right at the moment. So Tom's advice, a structured routine, maintenance routine, has really helped. And I'd find it easier, like I said to you, or you said to me, I'd find it easier having to add nutrients than trying to keep them in a range, because I was just up and down like a yo-yo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Right. What I'm going to do the roll call, and then I'm going to come back because I want to find out how you've set up the tank for Zeovit. So what kind of stuff you're using, the reactor and all that kind of stuff. But I want to do the roll call if that's all right. So let's see who is knocking around this evening on Good Friday. First of all, thank you for everyone joining. You know, Good Friday, you've got loads of other places you could be with family and everything else. So really appreciate you being with us this evening, as we're going to talk about the best reefing inventions. Good, bad, and indifferent.
Happy Reefster.
Happy Reefster, everyone.
Oh, nice one. I like it. It's going to get cheesier, isn't it?
Started as well. It's only 8:10.
We've got one. We've lost. Well, Jay's not here. Jay's actually in the chat, so I know he's on holiday at the moment. I don't understand why Jay can't log in like I do. I mean, I logged in from a different country last week, didn't I?
Don't forget, I was watching from Zanzibar. Remember? So
yes, exactly.
Marbella.
Yeah.
No, he's not in Marbella, is he? He's come back.
He's back in the UK now.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. He didn't come back, I suppose. I don't know. He went for a fleeting visit. Or he came back because of the rain. I'm not too sure. Right. Okay, let's have a look. So Tony Close is in the house. Number 1 as usual, the first, let's say. Thank you, Tony, for joining. Simple Reef Life. Liking those Zoas. Very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Joe, hiya, Joe. Thumbs up. Yeah, if you can press the thumbs up, that would be fantastic. And Joe is catching up later. Johnny Boy is with us. Hiya, John. Marek of the P. Good evening to you. Hiya, Skids. Techers is in the house. Hiya, Techers. Hope you're doing well. I think I've seen a comment later on that you're, I don't know if you've been buying quite a few frags at the moment. I don't know if you've been AAC, because they've got a discount this weekend, haven't they, on frags and clams. But we've got a 9 o'clock special. Hold it. We've got Clam of the Week at 9 o'clock. I haven't told you this. I found a lovely clam for us to look at. Look at
I was going to say good because I thought you were expecting me to do something at 9
Please.
o'clock then.
Please show this thing.
Yeah, you need to show Claudia he's impressed with Claudia.
Claudia's big. That's all I'll say.
Well, we can't have two clams. Well, we could have 2 clams of the week. Can we have a pair of clams? Anyway, right, I digress. We'll come back to clam of the week at 9 o'clock. Right. Johnny Boy has things. Yeah, really good, John. MK Reefer, hello to you. Hi, Lee. Hope you're well. Oh, he's ordered his first Goniapora today from Signature Ranks. Ooh.
Lovely.
Good evening to you, pelagic swimmer.
Oh, it's great. Scott.
UK M120. Good evening to you. A few conversations going on there. Right. Obviously, we've got Rigsy 69. Good evening to you. Hopefully, he's on the beers by the looks of it.
Funny
So that's good. We've got Gill's Aquarium. Hope you're well, Jill. Good to see you.
Don't be late in the morning, Liam.
Yes.
Of course, he's going to Radical with you guys.
He is, yeah.
Nice one. Hiya, Hayley. Good evening to you. And welcome, Sky Marine. Loving that angel fish as always.
Butterfly.
The one-armed reefer. Good evening to you. Right, that's okay. Jupus Reef. Good evening. Like in the Rockscape there. Southeast Reefer. Good evening. And good evening. Howdy even to David Bensley. Good evening, or wherever you are. JB evening. Alex of the Brooks. Hiya. And there's Jay. That's Drippy. Good to see you. Oh, he didn't know that Drippy was coming on, did he?
No, we were going to do a surprise on you, Paul, but I thought it best to check first because the idea was we were going to do the countdown and the Drippy was going to be sat here instead of me. But anyway,
in his birthday, so
in his birthday, so
yeah.
But we thought,
that might have been a bit too much, but there we go.
Life.
Hi, Rennie's Reef. Good evening to you. Hi, Cole. That's Wild Tank looks crap. I'm assuming he's talking to you.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. Yes, yes.
Oh, we've got a question of Tom's tank. There's the whole tank to swim in again.
Yeah, good point. Well noticed. 10 points.
So when did that happen?
When the clowns had given up with the eggs, really, they started eating them themselves. Ironically,
Did they?
Yeah, they started eating themselves, and then probably about 2 days later. So I think probably Thursday last week. No, that was yesterday. Probably Tuesday this week. Just gone. God, I'm losing track of time with it being a Friday. It feels like a Saturday night. But no, yeah, beginning of the week they gave up and allowed the orange shoulder to pass. So yeah, everything's back to normal now. Thank God. Yeah, a bit crazy, but yeah.
That was a bit strange, though, wasn't it? It wouldn't go past the wall.
I know, you couldn't have cued it any better last Friday when I said it's not going to go past there, and it didn't. And now it is. So yeah, everything's back to normal. Thank you. Yeah, fish behaviour.
Nice one. Got Darren, bloody hell, all down here now. Spud's been let on. Drippy, wear your Y fronts for Tom.
He's seen them already, mate.
It's a fun. It's not nice.
Oh dear. We're moving on. Salty Swagger.
Evening.
Nice, liking that logo as well. Good evening, dear.
Tomorrow.
Yes, good stickers. Thank you for sorting
Particularly
that.
Matt's one.
only things. Good evening to you. Right. John's Reef UK. Good evening to you. Hiya, Scott. Good evening. Hiya, Paul. Hope you're well. And we are at the bottom of the list. There was one question from Liam before we come back to how's the tank. So it's still gradually improving. It's getting there. It's just taking time. I'm still putting a load of silicate into to coat with the dinos, and I think the dinos is still dying off. Although I haven't really done much testing on the tanks. I've been away for the last 2 weekends, so I'm due to do some testing. And I might get the microscope out and have a look to see how the dinos are doing. But you can see from the stand, it's beginning to clear up a little bit. Sorry, Drippy?
Did you put a UV on your tank to help with the dinos?
No, because there are some dinos that you can use UV.
Right.
And there's some you don't. So with these at night, they don't float around the tank. They stay onto the rockscape. So I could put a UV, but it'd have limited effect. And to be fair, to put a UV on here would be a real pain. So it probably would be easy if it was a dinos that you could if they did float, and then you'd have a UV on it. But from everything I've read, it's pointless doing it.
Yeah.
If I had a UV, I'd probably put it on just for the sake of it. And then what I would probably do is blow the rocks and stuff like that and see if I can get rid of some of them. But this type of dinos, there's nothing to suggest.
How much he feeds his fish.
I know it's a lot. Well, it's got a lot of fish and it's a big tank, isn't it?
You wouldn't believe how much he feeds this, how much food goes in this tank.
Well, they eat it, don't they?
Oh, they do eat it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you think that's 100 litres. Yours is 1,400, and I've got what, 3 fish, and how many fish you got, Tom? 40?
30 something. 30,
Okay.
30, yeah.
Yeah,
30.
and you've got some big old fish as well that are greedy, aren't they? So they need a lot of food.
And his nutrients are still.
When nitrate's at 1, phosphate's at 0.02 at the minute. But we're experimenting, aren't we?
I like it, son.
We're having fun.
Well, it's a bit different to the phosphate before, isn't it?
Just a bit, yeah. We're dealing with silicates now more than anything else, but we'll get there.
I was just about to say, how's the silicates going?
I'm waiting on an ICP from the new fad model. Well, it's a fad.
You can't. Go on, follow it up. Don't lose it. Don't lose the bottle. Go on.
Yeah, I'm waiting for an ICP back. That's all I'm saying at the minute. That I was meant to have got back by now, but I haven't.
He's over the moon about.
I'm not over the moon about. No. It's expensive.
I'll tell you what, Reef Factory all the way. I said before, I sent it off on the Monday. They got it on a Tuesday, and I had the results 1 o'clock on the Tuesday.
You mean Zeovit or factory?
Yeah, sorry, Reef Elements. Sorry, Reef Factory. It took 2 weeks. They send them to Poland.
Does that go to Poland for an
Yes,
ICP?
I sent them. I sent the Reef Elements and the Reef Factory on the same day.
Yeah.
I sent both of them next day by 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
They both got there because I saw they were signed for. And the Reef Elements, I had the email about 1:30 in the afternoon on the next day with the results. And the Reef Factory went to Poland, and it took 2 weeks.
And what was the price of the Reef Factory one?
The Reef Factory one was free because they messed up my previous one in December. I think they're both about 30 quid. There isn't much in it, put it that way. There's not sufficient difference in the price
Right.
for 2 week difference.
Well,
Go on. Moneybags. Really? He's on Modern Reef ICP's Moneybags.
not money bags at all. So I went to get an app.
It's like having Jay next year, isn't it?
Oh, that's a bit harsh on me, isn't it?
So I apologise.
Okay.
So the Modern Reef one was. I bought the Modern Reef one from Radical because they didn't have the Reef Elements one because I wanted to do the ICP on the RO water, hence the silicates.
Fair enough.
And it was 40 quid for the test, so a bit dearer than everybody else. And it's the first one I've done with them. 3 vials, of which they're a lot. So they're not more. They're a lot bigger in terms of capacity of water, so therefore heavier. Went to the post office. Cost £5 to post it. So now we're on £45, obviously. Sent it to Exodus, which is in Dinnington, Sheffield, not far from where I am, about 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was on Monday, and not heard anything since.
We ain't getting that till Monday. Oh no, Monday's bank holidays.
Bank holidays. I know, probably timing with Good Friday, bank holiday money. I don't know, but yeah, not great.
So did you send it next day delivery or tracked or anything for £5?
Fee on Monday, yeah.
I'm with you, Paul. I'm on the Reef Elements.
So, well,
Yeah. The only thing with both the Reef Elements and the Reef Factory, there's a lot of stuff they don't test, and you have to pay for the premium one. And I must admit, I haven't bothered because I really want to know about the minor trace elements and really the silicates, because I need to have quite a lot of silicates in this tank. And it's about 200, which I know is nothing compared to what you've got, Tom. And it's taking me ages to get the silicates. It's 200 on this. I reckon I need to get about 350 for it to really take effect. But I want to do it gradually because I don't want to kill the coral.
Do you want to take some water down with you for him?
Oh. You want silicates? You want silicates, mate? This game's
We'll give you silicates.
What's your silicates at then at the moment, Tom? I suppose you're going to do ICP, ain't you?
It was just under 600.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
So Why don't you raise a ticket with Exodus? You do that on maybe on.
Yeah, to be fair, it's not that, it's bank holiday Easter weekend, it's not necessarily their fault. I just think the price is getting a bit expensive now, isn't it? So knocking on the door of £50 a test is
a lot,
especially the current climate. I'm not saying
phone bill a month, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not saying that the equipment is cheap to buy. I'm sure it, and I don't know how much it is, but I'm sure it's not cheap. Otherwise, everybody'd have one in the back garden, shed, etc. But yeah, I just think that knocking on the door of £50 is getting a bit silly now. Personally, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there's a few comments. Let's go through a few of the comments relating to this. Paul saying he feeds 9 cubes in one go. Darren uses Triton. Yeah, I use Triton. I used to use Triton all the time, but I fancy doing something different. And the Reef Element, I think Reef Element and the Triton ones was always found pretty good. Send it on a Monday. I used to get them on a Tuesday, and they would give the results on the Wednesday. And to be fair, whether you get it on a Tuesday, Wednesday doesn't really make that much difference. But 2 weeks does.
The last 2 I've had within 72 hours of sending it, so they've been bang on. I'd already got the Triton tests in the cupboard, and they weren't the RO ones, so I had to go and get an RO one. If that makes
No, I get it. Makes sense. Tropic Marine results in a week. Moggs is just taking a break at the moment. He's just got a few. He's all okay and everything else, but he's just off for. I think he's been off for 3 weeks, maybe. So I'm not too sure when he'll be back. Hopefully, he'll be soon. But yeah, he's fine. So there's nothing wrong with him or close family or anything like that. So yeah, he'll hopefully be with us soon. What else have we got on here? Reefs Elements Advanced come back in 2 days for me. You should get some nice sponges that level. Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually, the stuff I'm dosing is it is the Sponge XL, which is for if you've got sponges and softies and stuff like that. Can't even see it properly. Can't really see it because of the light, but it's the Brightwell. Yeah, so actually, I didn't really know you can really test that and put that kind of stuff in. But actually, some of the corals are absolutely loving it. The Goni Pora seems to like it.
Oh yeah.
Ah, yes, sponge power.
So that is that's in my routine book every day.
Is it?
Sponge. Yes. 5 drops.
And then, yeah, expensive for ICP. Do you get anything different to Reefs Elements and Triton? I must admit, I have not done a comparison of the Triton Elements or the factory just to see is there anything in there that some test and others don't. I should really, because then if one does a lot more than the others and there isn't much of a difference in the price, you might as well go with that, eh?
Yeah.
No, I think from what I have read, in all fairness, I always sound like I'm contradicting myself, but the Modern Reef one is a lot more in depth, so you are sort of getting what you're paying for.
Yeah.
Just from a sort of selfish point of view right now, I just want the RO water tested. It's cost me really £50 and it's not come back yet. That's all.
I suppose the thing is with the Modern Reef, is it done there or do they batch them up and do they send them somewhere else? Because that's where I think the Reef Factory one takes the time. They must batch them up over a number of days and then send them to Poland where they do them. And you're obviously going to lose days on that, aren't you?
I'm sure I was told it was getting sent to Germany, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me on that. Because as you say, they're specialist kit, they're expensive. And also, they're not a test kit when anyone can use it. I think you have quite a bit of training to be able to calibrate the machine and do it, which makes sense because that's what you're paying for, aren't you? You're not paying someone with the skill set of a hobby test kit. Talking about a decent piece of kit. I don't know how much they cost, but they're a lot of money, those ICP machines, aren't they? What else have we got on this? All about the Reefs Elements Advanced ICP. I get it sent to me monthly on a standing order, then 10% off. Okay. Great service.
Yeah.
Monthly on standing order, then 10% off.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
I might do that.
Bit of brand loyalty and get a bit of discount.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Nice one.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
I have a really horrible black sponge on some of my rocks. Anyone know how to get rid of it? No, I don't know. I mean, could you put...
Is there such thing as a horrible sponge?
I don't know.
I mean, angelfish love sponges, but whether I don't know about a black sponge.
Well, I know sponges can't live out of water anyway. So if you take the rock out of water, it's.
I suppose if you could take the piece of rock out, if not, I suppose could you put putty over it for a period of time to kill it off?
Yeah.
And then remove the putty.
I don't know what else eats sponges. What else would eat sponge?
No.
It's a natural diet for some fish, like angelfish. But other than that, I don't know anything that would.
I mean, sponges, unless they become really evasive, are pretty good.
Yeah.
For the tanks because they filter, don't they? Filter feed.
I mean, is there such thing as a bad sponge?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I don't know enough about it.
Maybe it just looks horrible.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah. Don't look. It looks ugly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got plenty of ugly things in my tank at the moment. Don't worry about it, Hayley.
So it's encrusting and growing fast.
Nasty.
Anything I think is cover it over with something, but I don't know if that would work or not. Okay, we've got some more here. Fauna marine is good. I did a comparison of reef elements and modern reef. 2 months to get the modern reef back. But they were almost identical. Oh dear, you don't want to hear that, do you?
What was the reef, modern reef over reef's elements anyway? You wanted to be with the.
I'm not going to get political, but all I will say is that when I was in the shop at the time, that was all I could purchase.
Oh, right. There you go.
Okay, yeah, because I was trying to get manganese, weren't I? Yeah.
You were there when I met you last night.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
There you go. The reef's elements ICP and standing orders through Blackfish Marine. So it's not direct with reef's elements. Then it's for because Blackfish Marine are they got their shop or they are online? I can't remember. I've heard of them, but don't know too much about them. Darren's saying putty glue over it. Or yeah. And saying that is a long wait. A month, it's not no point doing it, is there? Because by the time you get the results back, it'll be totally irrelevant. Not that helping you, Tom. I'm just saying on here. A long wait. Right.
Anyway, such is life.
I know. Well, should we move on? Right. So coming back to you, Drippy. In terms of the KZ, how have you got it set up? So what are you using?
So
routine, that kind of thing.
I spoke to Tom. I done my own bits and pieces of reading. I looked at the forums. If you sign up on the website, you can get an account. They verify your account. You then get access to the whole forum, which is
worldwide.
Mate, it's insane. You've got all people's questions from donkey's years. You've got all people's answers from donkey's years. You've got photos that people send in, and you kind of feel like, okay, if anything was to go wrong or I don't understand something or Tom don't know it, I've got a support network there that will try and help me. Bearing in mind they're all over the world, so you don't get replies instantly. But 9 times out of 10, or from whatever I've seen when I've gone on there speaking to you, there are people that make an effort to reply to people who have got an issue somewhere. Do you know what I mean? So, number one, because I don't hear many people on the KZ, other than you, I don't really know anyone else.
Not many people.
So it's kind of, that where's my safety net here if I really cock this up, which is probably more than likely. So that forum was great. And then I bought started on the Zeovit, Zeofood, Zeostart, Sponge Power. They were the 4 I bought. I've since bought Cyanoclean and Coral Snow. But those 4, you dose. See, this is where I need my diary. I didn't realise.
We put a lot into start. It's like the cycle I talked about ages ago. That obviously I was waiting on the bacteria coming in. So you kickstart the cycle. You put a lot in to start with, and then once you start to cultivate and populate that bacteria, you start to ease off. But make sure you keep feeding it so it doesn't die off in a sense. Which is what he's done. Which is why his nutrients are well under control now.
Which has been. Mate, I laughed. About 2 weeks ago, I done you went, we'll do a nitrate test because I hadn't done a water change. So while I was doing for the first month, get to 30 days, and then they advised doing a 10% weekly water change from now on, which will be my new routine. So I hadn't done a water change and kept feeding. Obviously, the fish need feeding and this and that. And I was dreading my nitrate test on. I did it before the month. I did it on about 3 weeks, didn't I? And normally my nitrates were in and around. I used to do 30% every 2 weeks, and they would normally get to about between 20 and 25, which is not like the end of the world or an
That's all right. Yeah.
But you know, when you don't do it for 3 weeks, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, what am we hitting a cricket score here? So, and they were 0.2, or was it 0.02?
No, that was your phosphate.
Yeah,
there were two.
Yeah.
In sync anyway, weren't they?
And that was the whole thing that, like I said earlier, that was the whole reason that intrigued me towards this system where, you know, the bacteria controls the nutrients. You know what I mean? And because the truth is, I couldn't control them. Do you know what I mean? There's many people out there that will go, no, my nitrates, my phosphates, I can keep them within a range. The truth is, mate, I couldn't. I struggled like anything. And I'd go into AAC and speak to Coral Man Dan, who'd come out, and I'd talk to him about aquapora because I knew that was the way I'd have to be going in the hobby. And he'd say, you need to keep your phosphates within 0.03, 0.06. And I'm thinking, I haven't got a hat and hell's chance of this. Do you know what I mean? I can't keep them stable anywhere. So then KZ comes in and, you know, multiple strains of bacteria, removing excess nutrients, feeding heavy, coming out heavy. Mate, it just, you know, sometimes you get a moment where you just think like, this fits me like an hand in glove. Do you know what I mean? So it was, you know, I can't remember the exact dosing I did every day from the start, but it's all on the website. You know what I mean? Listen, I am a complete idiot, right? So if I can do it, anyone can do it. Do you know what I mean? But it's just like Tom got me into a structure, and just stick to it. You know, after day 14, it changed. The dosing, that is.
And listen, you reduce it after 40 days.
And the truth is, Paul, right? The truth is, people will say about KZ, and I spoke to people who said, oh, they've said you've got to dose it on this day, dose it on the next day with your right arm, dose it on the next day with your left hand. But the truth is, if you haven't got 3 minutes to dose some stuff to your tank, then chances are you shouldn't really be in it, should you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's, well, the only thing is if people are away quite a bit, that's where you probably can't use that system. Yeah. I mean, I used part of the system. I used the Coral Snow and I used the Zeovit and that kind of stuff. And I've used that for years just to help with bacteria. Yeah. And I've always known it's good, but over the years, very few people I've known have ever used it.
Yeah.
They're rubbish at marketing because you think how good Red Sea, and you look at Red Sea, what they're doing at the moment, they've got that 4-part dosing, haven't they? That's off the calcium. And what they're going to say, if you dose X amount of calcium, it'd be Y amount of alkalinity. And I think it's I think it'll be 5 calcium, it'll be 10 alkalinity, and then 2.5 of the rest. And if people use that in their doser, I mean, and that's not necessarily for nutrients, but in terms of your major elements, I mean, how simple is that? I mean, Red Sea have actually made it, I think, really easy with their recipes. If actually through those blue bottles, they could do, because face it, probably something very similar in terms of this is your tank, this is the range, this is what you're doing, dose X, Y, Z, and everything else, which is what Tom's saying to you. Yeah. In effect, that's no different to what Red Sea and others are doing. They're just doing it in a really simple way.
It's more intimidating than other brands. Or the what's the word? Like the scaremongering amongst other reefers, or someone might have failed to do it or live up to it. The stigma, But like Tom said, listen, if you stick to a routine with it, and you get into that routine, and then it's down to him that I'm doing it. That's the honest truth.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to what I said about corals. I think you've just any system, any method, any bit of husbandry, any bit of advice that somebody gives you, you've got to have the patience and carry it through for a period of time before you decide whether it works or not, before you move on to something else. It's quite easy to try something for a few days or a week and then say it's not working, it's crap.
For a period of time. Yeah. There's a question there. So how much for the basics full kit of KZ bottles? Do you need all at once, or can you add? I mean, there's dozens of bottles, isn't there? But because I've seen in H2O, when I go in there, they've got a whole glass cabinet, and there must be at least 15, 20 different bottles. But of course, you don't have to use all of that. So I mean, what's the basics?
Those 4 bottles that I bought the bigger bottles of a few of them because I didn't want to run out. So
because the more well, it is true. The more you buy with certain ones, the cheaper it ends up being.
Yeah,
per milliliter, because you get the big bottles.
Yeah.
But, I mean, a small bottle in a smaller tank lasts quite a while, doesn't it? Because I use the Zeovit, and it gives me age to take the age.
I think you could do the Star Kit for 50 quid on a more size tanks.
Yeah.
Or less.
I think for me, and listen, I haven't got a massive tank. Mine's 5 foot, but I bought the bigger bottles on some of them. The sponge power's quite big anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think mine come to about 100. I'm pretty sure it's about £130, which was a load of Zeovit, a load of Zeo Start, Zeo Food, and the big sponge, because the sponge power is something you dose every day.
Yeah.
So I've been dosing every day for a month, and I haven't even touched the sides on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're big bottles, though, aren't they? Because I've got the coral snow, and it's lasted me ages. Because you can get really small bottles that have got about 10 milliliters in them.
Yeah.
And they'll last a while, or you can buy the bigger bottles. I mean, that's the 10. Is that the 10?
You can see
that's the bigger bottle, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, that one.
Yeah. But I mean, that bottle in your right hand, what's that, about 50, 60 quid? Not that one, the other one.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're about. He's taking the prices off, so Kaz don't see the price on them. You know, Kaz. So I don't actually. Yeah, they are like even the medium-sized bottles. They're like 40 quid, and I know that is a lot of money to some,
but they last a while.
To a long-term reef tank, it's easier for you to have.
Drops, not mill as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, because you dose by the drop, don't you? So they do last. Just the really small, because I'm saying the small bottles are 10 milliliter. I mean, that's more than 10 milliliter. That's about what, 50?
That's 50. That's sorry.
Other than the Zeo Start,
I know which ones you're.
Zeo Start, you do with a syringe, don't you? At the moment, I'm doing 0.5 mil in the morning, 0.5 mil in the evening.
Right. So it's not a lot, is it?
No,
yeah, that's 10 mil, isn't it?
That's the 10 mil one.
Yeah. So
that's a 10 mil bottle, and that will last ages.
Yeah.
On a smaller tank.
The thing is, it's like I could plod along, sort of getting frustrated most days whenever I get my final phosphate, reading, or you can have a go at something else. And like you said earlier, if you're away for work, I'm not away, so I wouldn't do the KZ system if I wasn't at home Monday to Friday. Do you know what I mean? So like he says, everything is in moderation to what you can be there to do, or
your social lifestyle.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That's fair enough. So it's working for you. So it makes it. Do you know what, Tom? You know what you should do? You should do a video, a guide and a start to Zeovit. Just saying, just putting it out there.
Yeah. No, but you've had it's boosted his confidence. I think is the biggest thing. You know, whether I know people are going to go, oh, those levels are too low, blah blah blah. He was starting to. The point is that he's followed a system, it's worked, and it's just brought him back into the hobby. I'm not saying he was leaving it, but he was getting quite frustrated because he was just chasing his tail a little bit. Well, you were plodding, but you were quite deflated. So you got your ICP back, and you were like, oh, it's just constantly bad news, and this is what I always say. It's like, if you put the effort in, you want to get the right result, don't you? And he's put the effort in, you got the result. So fair play. I mean, I should be. I'm going for a slightly ugly phase at the moment, as you can see.
Us, Kaz. Oh, Kaz is laughing as well. Look, I'm getting no something for your Kaz. All right, fair enough. Yeah, slight ugly phase at the moment. Nothing mental, nothing too damaging. It's just one of them. You just keep the faith and keep plodding on. Do you know what I mean? Keep going with it. So, yeah, I think I've got a better chance at being satisfied with my reef tank this way than any other way, basically. Previously. Yeah,
absolutely. Right. Thank you for that. So let's move on to. Should we move on to the topic? Oh, sorry. Let's see if I've missed any comments. I think we've gone through all of the comments there. There you go. So all for reef for me, plus manganese and iodine.
John boy.
Yeah, it's fine. What works for you, isn't it? Is what It works if it works, which is what is happening to Ryland. Is you're gonna stick to it. That's kind of all I'm saying.
No, absolutely. So on the floating aquascape I've got I've done my test on that today. My phosphate is 0.15, so quite high. My nitrates, I think, are 25, so a little bit out of sync, but the corals are looking pretty good. There's a little bit of algae, and because you're going to, at those kind of levels, you are going to be more susceptible to algae. But the corals look really good. The Alpha Reef I've been dosing for since Haley and some of the other guys recommended it. That was over 2.5 years ago. Alpha Reef is just so simple. The only thing is if it goes out of sync a little bit, then you buffer it with one of the other three. So I don't change the Alpha Reef dosing, and it's just really, really simple. And then I dose manganese every so often because I've got some Goniopora, Alveopora, and also some torches in there. And they seem to love it. I don't dose iodine because I do Alpha Reef, but I know quite a few people that do dose iodine.
Does Alpha Reef contain iodine?
Yeah, so it contains the 3 main elements, plus it contains all the trace elements.
Right.
But because I've got a massive torch in there, it's way too big for the tank, you could argue. And I've got Alveopora, I dose manganese, and also I sometimes have to dose additional magnesium because torches seem to like higher magnesium levels, and the Alveopora and Goniopora suck up more manganese. So whilst the Alpha Reef is really good, if you've got, I suppose, a disproportionate amount of certain corals, then you probably have to dose other stuff. I mean, it's a 170 litre tank, and it's got a torch that's got about 30 heads on it. It's too big for the tank, but I'm not gonna cut it back because I'll probably end up destroying it.
Fragged off and sold by now, mate.
Yeah, I won't have the heart. It just looks so nice. So I mean, I think Alpha Reef works really well. Personally, it works for me on that tank. Whereas one of the other tanks, I got the Red Sea and the alkalinity, magnesium, and calcium, and I've been running that for day one and when I had the big tank as well. And I like that system. Although once I run out of that, I might go to something else. I might try a different system altogether. But if you've just got one dosing pump, Alpha Reef does your trick, and then you just manually dose to balance out the other 3.
I've just started the Reef's Elements 2-part. I don't know if anyone's got any experience with that.
You just said that I've heard that's really good because it's got a buffer in there for pH as well, which Tom will love.
Yeah.
So that works really well.
Yeah, never heard of it, mate.
What pH? Decent, good.
There we go. And we got it does contain iodine as Hayden says, and pH is king. And it's only taken 43 minutes to get that in there, so we're a bit slow this evening.
What isn't it?
And we got one just going over to Aqua Forest Lab Components Pro from Reef's Elements. Now Mogsy used to use the Aqua Forest, and he really liked it. But the only thing he found was because he was dosing so much, it was really expensive. But then, of course, he moved to calc, and then
that stuff. I remember, yeah.
He was dosing, I don't know,
mental amounts, ridiculous amounts.
He was spending, I think, about 80 to 100 quid a month on elements.
Ridiculous amounts, mate.
And then he went to calc and he reduced it, and then he switched off of that. He went from Aqua Forest to something else, I think, but I can't remember what he went to.
He went to Coral
Essentials. Coral Essentials he went to, didn't they?
And he raved about that. He loved Coral Essentials, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds quite good that Southeast Reefers just put down there, didn't it? The probiotic salt, as it has bits in salt to help manage PO4 and nitrate. So any help with PO4.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got here currently debating on a tester. I'm assuming an auto tester.
Yeah.
We'll come on to that in a minute, I think.
Yeah.
It's been great on the Reef's Elements for 3 years now.
Brilliant.
You need to dose so much. Yeah, absolutely. So it gets really expensive, doesn't it? The opponents of Pro is double strength on what I think Mogsy had. He had the normal one, I think. Yeah, I'm not too sure. And then the Reef, as the Aqua Forest Reef salt is one of the cheapest, but price jumps on the probiotic salt.
We'll bucket Red Sea, but when I can't get hold of it, I do get the Aqua Forest one,
Right, there we go. So looking at the Hannah Master, completely new beginner, no current testing. So the Hannah Master, that's the I'm not too familiar with that one.
That's the little briefcase with the violet
Yeah.
on the top, I think. Yeah. It's not cheap.
I know a couple of people got that and they really like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never, but I know a couple of people who have that and said they really like it. Yeah.
Not automated though, is it? So it's
It's digital reading, doesn't it?
I mean, it's not a test like a Trident or anything.
So it's not like a KH Keep or a Mastertronic or anything like that.
Don't think so. No.
Is it not?
Let's have a look. Sorry.
I'm just going to look it up.
Yes. I'm sure it's the manual tester, so you have to put the vial in it.
Right. So I'm just going to share my screen.
It's definitely not automated.
If I can find it.
Yeah. It's the briefcase.
Oh, it's that one.
Yeah, it's the briefcase.
Sweet. You put the vial in there like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what one is it? You got the Hannah. So you got the master one there.
Yeah.
Which is this? Oh, I see. Yeah, it doesn't look very automated, does it?
Combination of all the eggs, all the coloured eggs you buy in one unit from memory. Might be wrong.
How much is that one? 575.
That's 575. There is another one. Yeah. So I know very little about it.
Yeah. Well, if you was to buy them individually, that would probably cost a lot more than that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, so I suppose it depends on whether you want an automated tester or whether you want that, which I suppose because you're paying that amount of money, you've got a higher grade, haven't you, in terms of accuracy of what you get. I suppose the question is on that one, is it worth paying that money? Because even with, you've got your home tests, they're not. Every week you get consistency in what you do, which I suppose is what you're looking for, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the best thing about the automated ones for me, whether you people have got buy into them or not, is the I can say this about anything, whether it's a pH probe, salinity probe, you get it records the data for you and it gives you historic information that you can then refer back to in maybe a month or a year or whatever.
Like my diary,
like your diary. So it is literally a diary online that you can access 24/7. But I also believe that there is an argument, which we're probably going to talk about in a minute, about having control of certain bits of automation in terms of human control and making sure that they're accurate. So, so swings and roundabouts for me. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to spend that kind of money, then you would expect it to be more accurate. And therefore, you can get, as you say, it's that consistency that you want, isn't it?
I think the automated stuff is good to identify sort of like a spike, for example. Oh, that doesn't look right, and it notify you, and then you do a manual test. Is it right? But again, I'm a big believer in, should I have an automated test in the first place that's not right? When I have to calibrate it, when I've paid all that money, it should just be right. But hey ho, that's the current day and age we're in at the minute with technology.
Well, that's the problem with probes, isn't it? Whenever you've got any kind of probe, they have to be calibrated periodically, whether that's every couple of weeks or whether that's every couple of months. So it's only going to be as good as how you have to, instead of maintaining your tank, you've got to maintain the kit, which I suppose you have to do anyway with power heads and everything else. Just that this needs a bit more TLC on a regular basis. It's just a case of whether you're prepared to do that. If you are, great. If you're not, then don't get it, because it's going to be all over the shop in no time.
Well, then I think when you start calibrating stuff, it then starts to beg the question, well, does the manufacturer come with an instruction that says it has to be calibrated with X amount of days? And if not, then your opinion of how regular or the frequency of calibration is accurate enough, because for all you know, it might have been dropping out of sync for a lot longer than you might have realized.
Yeah.
Before we calibrated it. So it kind of contradicts it a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Right. I just got a couple more comments, and then we're approaching 9 o'clock. So we're going to do early. I'm going to do Clam of the week. Yes. And then we're going to get on to the actual topic.
You can leave your hat on, music. Should we put that on? Can we get that on Alexa quickly? No?
Right. Okay. We've got here. Has anyone got any tips for keeping Zeomit's KH liquid instead of a iceberg?
Yeah. That was what I had in the garage, Alex, when I used to leave it on the floor, and it was the temperature that used to cause it to crystallize.
Ah, right. Okay. I got you. Yeah.
because I used to moan to him about it all the time. It was that reason. It was because it was a cold surface, but there might be something more to it. But that was just what I experienced in the garage, in the fish house.
Yeah. Right, that makes sense. I'm with you because I didn't understand the question.
The garage was a lot colder than it was it would have been in the house, and I don't know.
Yeah, perfect sense.
An influence to that.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I think that answers the question. Aquaphos hybrid salt would be the salt I'd use if I couldn't get Tropic Marine Pro. Not that I do water changes much. Right. Yeah, it's not an auto tester like the Trident. Yeah, absolutely makes sense. Just got one last question. I changed my RODI filters a month ago in resin, still red-free TDI. I changed my membrane today, and after 4 hours, came down to 3 again. Any faults and why it's not 0 as previously?
Well, how much water have you run off before you've measured it? Because you have to run off quite a bit first for it everything to kick in first, from experience. So just from you swapping stuff out doesn't mean it's going to take it down to 0 straight away. So again, I can't comment depending on how big our own machine is, but I'd say run at least 25-50 litres off before you start measuring your TDS. And if it's still at 3 and you want it at 0, then I put an extra resin chamber on it.
Yeah, because the water here is really crap. It's about TDS going in is over 300. So I've got 2 membranes, got the normal kind of filters on there. Then I've got a DI resin as well, and that's pretty good. And I change the DI resin probably every couple of months. And I don't make a massive amount of water because it just burns through the resin because of how poor the water is here. But yeah, I suppose you have to run it off for a while, don't you? And it depends in different areas how long you have to run it off before. Because in theory, if you've changed all the membranes, you change all the filters and the DI resin, there's no reason why it shouldn't be.
Either get the DI resin chamber or just add another one to it, just so it goes through twice, basically, is all I'd suggest. Because you're nearly there, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, a second membrane should help. Absolutely. Yeah, you got to run it off. And then we got float bottle in warm water. Yeah, we talked about this last couple of weeks, didn't we? And that should turn the crystals.
That was definitely temperature right now.
Yeah, it's only going to be accurate as your calibrations. Absolutely. Right. So we're going to move on to Clam of the Week. So I'm just going to share my screen. It's Jill's Aquarium. A lovely example of a clam now.
Look at that.
It's a beauty.
Open just far enough for me. That.
And I've got to say, if you're in the market for a clam, AAC have got 15% off this weekend. How's your clam doing, Tom? How's Claudia?
She's doing well, thank you. She's doing well.
She's a beast, mate.
There.
That's a big old clam, isn't it?
You can see the flap swaying in the flow now, can you?
Oh dear.
Look, absolutely loving life she is. Excuse my head.
There you go. Yeah,
What the glamorous assistant does, is it? Is that distorted there, or can you see it all right?
You can see it okay. And also see all the fish are coming into focus as well, which is some superb fish there.
They're getting another 3 gallon of myces. Brian.
Absolutely.
Don't know if you can see her swaying there, having the time of her life.
I know. That's a big old clam.
Yeah. Too big for me.
Oh, there we go. And that was a lovely example there. So we'll have to look out this week, Tom, for on the internet for our clam of the week for next week. I might give Jay the job of doing that.
I reckon he'll have one soon.
Well, it's definitely going to be called Clam Watch.
Yeah. So if anyone finds any decent clams or see anything, then message us on Instagram and we might show it next week. For the month of April, we'll have Clam Watch.
That's it.
Clam gang.
Yeah.
You have
Right.
to take it to another level every time.
What's wrong with that? That's clam gang.
Oh, dearie me. Right, okay, let's move on to the chosen subject. So we're just nearly at 9 o'clock. So
Yes.
thanks goes to Tom, who's done the PowerPoint for us this week that he did last week. A little bit more effort this week.
I'll have the mad scientist. Cracks me up.
Absolutely.
He's got that geezer driving that van and pulled out your road earlier.
Anyway.
So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about the best reefing inventions and then the worst reefing inventions, and then we'll based on the comments, we'll have our top 4 for the best and top 4 for the bottom. We'll run a poll to see who the winner is.
Yeah. So what we're going to do? We're going to do a poll at what, 9:30?
Yeah. Let's do that. So this is the best. So if anyone, we're going to go through a few of these on here in terms of inventions. So this is the good ones at the moment. So put in the comments any that you think that we've missed, or what you think are the best inventions that we've seen over the last few years. So do you want to start off, Tom?
Yeah, I think one thing just to clarify is that there's no brand loyalty here. So for example, a skimmer is a skimmer. We're not saying, it has to be a certain type of skimmer, for example, or a LED light, or a, automated, tester. So yeah, we're going to have different opinions based on good and bad experience of certain brands and bits of kit, old and new. We're literally just listing to talk about products that help the hobby, should I say, enhance the hobby, not hinder it, and not be a pain in the backside. So yeah, so there's going to be loads more, and I'm sure there's dozens that people are thinking of right now. But these were the key ones that we were thinking about over the last few days. So
absolutely,
what his thoughts are on this one.
So do you want to start off with one? Then I'll go to chat, and then I'll start straight at the top. I'll go with the temperature controller straight away, as opposed to just a normal glass heater or your heater with a thermostat on it. I think temperature controllers are great. We've all had good and bad experiences with them. We can walk into a room and hear that dreaded noise when it's too hot or too cold, but at least we can hear a noise and it tells us that we need to do something about it, as opposed to not doing anything about it and have an even bigger problem. So I think temperature controls are good. You can put a fan on them, obviously. And for, what are they, 40 quid these days?
Yeah, 40 quid.
It's a no-brainer to have one on your tank for me.
Yeah.
Really.
Would you get one that had a Wi-Fi as well, so that when you're not in the house? Or do you think the good old-fashioned one? I mean, to me, the DD controllers are brilliant. I've got one on each of the tanks that I use. I've had them for years, and I think they're really, really good. Obviously, it doesn't help if I'm outside the house, but
I've got the Reef battery ones. I know that name is probably a little bit at the minute, but anyway, I bought them. I've got them. I paid for them. I'm using them. Yeah, there's quite a few issues with connectivity with the app and cloud-based software. But I think the concept of being able to access that information when you're not in the house or away from your tank is ideal. Again, irrelevant of brand, but the concept of it being cloud-based, I think, is good. Plus, like it is with any parameter really of your tank. So
I think, other than the ICP test on that screen, it's the best value for money.
Yeah.
For what it is and what it does, it's got to be the best value for money.
It controls one of the biggest parameters, most important parameters of your tank, if not the biggest, temperature. So for 40 quid, you're daft if you don't have one.
I'm sure it was 40 quid. How much was yours, Paul? It was 40 quid, wasn't it? Yeah.
When I got mine, they're quite old. They were about 30 quid. I think they're about 40 quid now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've been around for a while. I had it on my very first tank. So that's 10 years this year. Before that, you used to have to make them yourself. So you used to buy the components off of eBay. And I can't remember what they used to be called. And then you'd buy this box and you'd all the components and put it together.
You had like 1,000 wires coming out the back of it. It had a screen on it. I can't remember what they're called now. I've got one of them.
An SC 1000 or something. There you go. There we go.
Yeah.
STC 1000.
1000. Yeah. I think on that list, you could argue that everything on there you can run a tank without.
I mean, you could run a tank without the temperature controller because I don't think you can run a tank without a heater.
No, I mean in terms of the product, you could, they're not necessarily essentials, but we're saying innovations, aren't we, or inventions? So I think advanced the hobby over the last 5 years, let's say, as a time frame. Yeah,
absolutely. Ryland, do you want to do one? And then I'll go to chat.
Oh, because it's helped me in the last couple of months. I'll probably say the ICP testing. That's something that I'll do religiously every month. I'll send one off. I'll get something in maybe the end of the month or whatever. But it saved me because in my idiocy, just the blind dosing a certain trace bundle sent, mate. I mean, I was at copper of levels of 20. Just to give you an example of how much of an idiot I am. Do you know what I mean? It was madness when it nickel and zinc. Just, mate, I just didn't bother taking the time to read properly and just thought, yeah. And it was probably down to the fact that I wasn't really happy with where I was. But anyway, ICP testing helped me see that. Then process of elimination got it down to the trace stuff I was dosing, and also it would allow me to see things that might come in the future, and I'll be able to eradicate them before they even get to a stupid level. So, I'd say ICPs are massive.
Okay, thank you. Right, let's take a couple from chat. So they've got random flow generators. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're so simple, aren't they? And they're really cheap. So you think what you can get the benefit?
You've got is it RVA or C?
VCA.
VCA, Paul, at Love to Reef, you've got coming, haven't you? They do them.
Yes. So they're one of the stands. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Yeah,
so there's that one there. Heaters, of course. Yeah. Heaters are a must where we are. Absolutely. So I think the heater combined with the heat controller, for sure. I think the auto top-offs, I think are brilliant. If I think about my very first tank, I didn't have an auto top off. I used to get a bucket and top up with RO once a week, and the coral survived. But I mean, the shift in salinity over a week. It was only when I used to go down in that last chamber, and I used to top it up, and quite often it would be 5 litres to 10 litres, depending how long before I did it. I would never do that now. I don't know would anyone run a tank without an auto top off. I know Carl does from time to time, but I must admit I personally wouldn't. Would you run a tank without an auto top off?
No, you could run one with a stop cock, couldn't you? Which is the old-fashioned way of doing it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I did what you did at the start, mate. I had the tank bundle I bought, had that DD one, and I just couldn't be bothered to set it up because technology scares me because I hate getting things wrong, because then I get frustrated. And like you, I checked the salinity one day, it was good, drew a lines on the RO chamber of where it's got to be in between, and would just manually top it up. And like you say, mate, the salinity would have been all over the place, but at that time I would have only had fish in there, really. No.
Yeah,
no, cool.
Absolutely. We've got a couple of others. So pelagic glass, I think that certainly helps for sure. Filter roller, I think, in the recent years, that's certainly one where I think it's a bit of a game changer, where people use filter socks and floss. I know you do, and I know more and more people now on bigger tanks are having a filter roller, but not on the downpipe, so they'll have it in the sun. So it'll filter some of the water, because it can definitely over filter the water. But definitely, I think that in recent times has been a big invention and I suppose progression in the hobby. It makes life easier from a maintenance perspective. For me, LED lights. So when I came into the hobby 10 years ago, the LEDs were not that new. So I think it was a Gen 2 from an Ecotech. So they've been out for a little bit. and T5 certainly still ruled, I would say. And they were okay. I mean, I've still got a Gen 3 I've been using for 9 years. But I think the advancement in lighting for LEDs, I think you can pretty much buy any LED light now and it will grow coral. You haven't got to worry about, am I giving it enough power through the power of the lights? Because I think they all pretty much do. It's a case of getting the spectrum right and getting the power right and the placement right. So for me, LED lights, I think I've seen a big change in them from when I started.
Yeah.
DC pumps I've put on there as well, which are obviously advantage.
So why DC over AC?
Well, simply because you can use your pump as another form of a power head. So if you get I've said this with skimmers, if you get an oversized one, it's a really good way of not just turning over your water, but also adding flow to your tank without having to add additional power heads. And you can control it as well, which is also an added bonus with it being DC. And these days, you don't have to spend a lot of money either for that little bit of added bonus.
Fair enough. Right, let's see what else we've got. The Reef Factory Smart Tester on the best low. I have 2, but then put the reagents on the worst for it. I'm still waiting for a few of them.
Mm.
Do you know what?
They ever take off? Really? A few people thought they were going to go bang, and I don't really know many people that have one.
I said to Steve, I was waiting for them to bring a Mark II out because they tend to have a really bad habit of bringing Mark II of everything out.
Yeah. I'm feeling really mixed about those kind of testers, whether it be the Trident or the KH Keeper and all of those. I'm not convinced. I get where they are, and I think maybe in 5 years' time they should be head and shoulders where they are today. I'm just not convinced about what you have to do, and you have to calibrate and everything you need to do to keep them going.
Yeah,
me.
I'd never use one I would never use one in the sense that it would dose based on its readings into the tank, if that makes sense. It would auto dose on my behalf, so it recognises an element's low or high and it doses something to compensate for it. I think that's dangerous when you go down that road, personally.
You can do that, can't you? Because I know with the Trident, you can dose according to the measurements that are coming out of it.
But again, I think the more and more you as a person, as in the hobbyist, moves yourself away from the contact with your water and what's going on in your tank, the more you open yourself up for things going wrong. And that's happened to me. And I just think, why are you in the hobby? Because you want your tank to be the best it can. Well, you need to be, just because you've, and I've got some of these toys, just because you've got them doesn't mean that you can then take your eye off the ball. I think, use it as an indicator is what I would say, and an recording information and trends. But I seriously wouldn't put my whole faith in technology, even in 2024.
You know what? This was another reason. Sorry, just quickly. This was another reason I steered towards the Zeo system, is because my phosphates, I just could not. I thought, well, let's smart tester. I thought £600 odd. I thought, Jesus, right, £600 odd, a lot of money.
Plus reagents.
But plus the reagents, which was one of their hooking points, was their tests were cheaper than Hannah's per test sort of thing. But I thought 600 lump up front for this thing. It's only going to monitor my phosphates because I'm struggling, and then I've got to try and correct them. So then when I saw the Zeovit, and I sound like I sponsored Zeo, didn't I?
Yeah, but it's carbon dosing, whether it's Zeo or not, it's just carbon.
But by adding the Zeo, like the multiple strains of bacteria, removing the excess nutrients kind of does all that for me. So it allows me to, I'll say, I haven't forked out 600 quid for a smart tester and the reagents, like the bloke just said. It just kind of takes that away for me. Do you know what I mean? That was another thing that was massively pushing me towards trying the Zeo as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Just a few comments here on the smart testers. Seem more of a faff than a simple Hannah.
I remember him saying to me, he did like it.
Yeah. I've had Trident for 4 years. I've never trusted it to dose. But as you say, I think it's just to keep, just if it goes out of sync, at least you've got an early warning sign, haven't you?
Anything automated, even down to a Hannah test kit, you're looking for a range, you're looking for an indication. Am I in the ballpark or am I off whack? You know, am I really low or am I really high? That's what you're looking for me anyway. If you're chasing a specific number, I mean, let's be honest, you do an test kit and you can do 2 or 3 and you're never going to get the same reading. You might be lucky if you get the same reading 3 times out of 3. You can get slight deviation or elevation, but it's going to give you a ballpark. And that's going to tell you whether you're on the right track or not. And for me, that's the same with these automated bits of machinery. They say whether or not you are in the right range. We talk about range, don't we? KH, alkalinity, whatever it should be. You know, as long as you are in that range, you're in that safe range. As soon as it drops out or it goes above, then you need to say to yourself, well, I maybe need to test it manually and then seek to do a corrective measure. I think it's dangerous if you let that corrective measure or that decision be made by a piece of machinery, is what I'm saying.
And absolutely. If I think about when I test the 3 tanks that I've got, so I'll do, you know, obviously 3 of each. I know when if I do, say, 3 of the phosphate, you've got to put the exact amount of water in.
Yeah.
And then you think about the reagent, you usually have to spoon it out of the powder. Sometimes you get powder along the spoon. How often do you get it absolutely flat and spot on? And every little bit of water that's different to where it's supposed to be, and at how many seconds you leave it, and how much of the reagent, whether you put 10 drops in or sometimes it's not in there, other drops always the same. All of that has an impact, doesn't it? So if your water's slightly out and the amount of time you leave it and the amount of time you put the powder in, but to your point, all of those can be out a little bit, but it probably won't make a difference whether it's 5 or 55. So you'll get it within that range and you'll be comfortable with that. And I know each time I do that test, in that hour, 2 hours I'm doing it, the powder's slightly different. You can see it, and then you try and correct it, and then you knock too much off the spoon and you do it again. But so it is really difficult, and that's why you pay for an ICP, because you expect them to do it exactly how it should be done.
I've got experienced reefers that won't even use two separate vials for 2 tests. They'll use the same vial each time. Just, I don't know why I said that.
No, I use different vials. I must admit, I do. Yeah, and each of them I wash them out with tap water. I dry them and then they go back in. I don't rinse them out of RO or anything else. But by the time I use them, they're dry now. Whether that causes a problem, I don't know, because they say you should rinse them out. You should dry them each time before you use them and stuff like that. So there's all that kind of stuff that can have an impact on it. Right, where we go? We go. Smart test is easy. Just calibrate once a month. I don't use it to dose. I use it to keep the trends on my results.
Definitely.
AH keepers are like nurses, keep an eye on things. We are the doctors that has the final word. Yeah, good comparison on.
Yeah, like Alex.
Glad they invented planes, otherwise we'd never have the fish and coral. Good point. Right, I'm going to go back up and see what other examples we've got, and I'll come back to the other comments that I might have missed. So where was I? Wi-Fi controller best. Yeah, I think, you know, Wi-Fi's been around for quite a while, hasn't it? Long before they started putting it on the on kit. The only, I suppose, system that had kind of Wi-Fi was the Apex, wasn't it? And even to begin with, that used to have an Ethernet cable, and then they brought out the new brain that had Wi-Fi that wasn't really reliable. Then after that, it had the proper one. And now, I must admit, I probably wouldn't buy a kit if it didn't have Wi-Fi.
No,
and then the DD controllers, I'd probably still have those, but I'd probably insist on Wi-Fi. What about you guys?
Yeah, I'm gonna do one which is quite good, which is quite interesting. But again, it's not Wi-Fi enabled, so it's a pH probe. I'm sure it's pH, temperature, and salinity probes.
Yeah,
it's not Wi-Fi connectable, so you can't access the information away from the tank. So you have to constantly be looking at the reading or the digital screen to get the reading, which for me sort of, yeah, it's just not as user friendly as other platforms are for that reason. You know, everybody knows I'm mad about pH. I like to check it when I'm at work. I do. I like to check it when I'm at work. So as daft as it sounds, so. Yeah, I just think to have an interface that you can access on a tablet, mobile device, whatever. For me, it's yeah. We are in the modern age now, so we should be able to do that on most things, I think, really.
And it does keep you peace of mind. I've been at work and the temperature's gone out of whack. I mean, I've got a DD controller, but then I've got the Red Sea auto top off. So I've got an alert on that, and I knew there was a problem on it. So I didn't turn the RO back on. So therefore the probe came out of the water, and then the temperature dived, and that's how I knew that there was a problem on that.
that changed my the red CHO that I got free of my tank when I got my new tank last summer. Is
Yeah.
the thing that changed my
yeah.
mindset. Yeah, the free one. Yeah, that's the thing that's changed me in terms of the Wi-Fi and the apps on the phone, because I had nothing before that, and just being able to have that, I can check my temperature at all times, and not only that, because I'm a plasterer at work, when I'm sitting down on my up in between trails and that, I'll go on my information and just look at the trends over the last week, or that, and all of a sudden you're like, no, now I went out and got the Red Sea. Well, actually, on Tom said about going to get a doser to start the 2-part once we'd got everything. So I went and got the Reef Dose 4, which I found was the cheapest for the least amount of money for the most amount of kit. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And just going up
Value for money.
and like you say now, if I can, the MP40s, it's just nice to have a go for it. And you can create a picture in your mind of what that tank is doing over a period of time.
You get to understand your tank's behaviour, don't you, with a lot of this equipment. And obviously in the UK, we've got different. We have in most countries, but our seasons are up and down. Climate, temperature, for example. People having heating on, things like that. So I think to have the automated information to be able to say, well, why has my temperature gone up so much? Well, probably when we put the heating on, or when does this drop? You just get to understand your tank's behaviour and personalities. As I say, which I think is it's not the be all and end all, but I think it's just an added bonus if you can understand it, because it makes you help and it makes you deal with any problems that you have.
And also you can spot things as well, can't you? Because you're doing things. I'm not saying having your hands in the tank, but the closer you are, the more you're doing to the tank, the more you notice stuff, which helps in as a kind of red flag or anything like that. So that's a fair point. The Inkbird 306 is Wi-Fi. I mean, Ross was on the chat today and he was talking about the Inkbird, because he was been using that, and of course he works away, and that's helped him. He's had problems and he's been able to talk to his wife, who's then been able to sort something out. So definitely on that. And that STC 1000 was the original. Well, as long as I was aware, there may have been one before that was the original temperature controller. And then we got the DD controller back up to Apex, and a second safety base. So mine on that one is a DD controller, but to your point, Ryland, the 3-in-1.
Yeah.
So it's not a temperature controller; it's a temperature monitor, which is a slight difference, because it can tell there's a problem, but it can't sort it out.
The thing is, your DD temperature controller hasn't got a link to your phone that gives you a notification.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Totally get what you're saying, mate.
Yeah. Although there is a slight difference between the two, because the probes are in a different place.
Yeah.
The probe for the DD controller is in here.
Yeah.
Whereas the Red Sea is in the last chamber. And what I find, if it's topping up RO, as it's the RO, the temperature goes down a little bit, which makes perfect sense, because you're taking water that's cold out of the base into that. So I don't have a flippy if I get a notification, because I say, right, okay, what's happening now? And it just has a little blip.
I just adjusted my range slightly by only a couple of points of a degree. Yeah. Then I know that every time that tops the RO off, my phone's not going to go off at work. And if I'm halfway through skimming a massive lid, I ain't chucking me. Do you know what I mean?
In the van.
Yeah. So I just adjusted the range on it, which is
You mean you're working?
That's
Well, when I saw him working as plastering, he was in his van most of the time, to be fair. FYI. He was working inside.
You want to spoil his hair. Look at that.
Jealous. Look, can I have this or a parting like that? Well, I mean, what?
Oh, dear. I got a comment now about Reef Factory fixed the app this week. Yeah, because they had problems with the cloud, didn't they?
They did.
People with problems.
Yeah.
So what else we've got from here? It's a life support system as a temp controller. Absolutely. Got a comment there from Gil, from Liam, apart from calc. Not too sure the context. Apologies.
It's on there somewhere.
Not looking hard enough, mate.
It's like
right there, look, right in front of you.
It's like, where's Wally?
Yeah. Well, where is he?
Oh, I see. Calc is on there, right? I mean, he's on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you've lost me. Okay, I'll move on. RODI filters, yeah. makes sense about the quality of water. Right, shall we do something else on the list?
Mhm.
Do you think calc's a good invention, Tom?
It's not an invention. Well, it is and it isn't.
Well,
It's
okay, so no, well,
Yeah.
using it.
way before I was in the hobby. Yeah, I think for what it does, yeah, great, 100%.
And it's
Funny,
cheap to ships
the
as
old
well.
school workers, and you talk about it.
Yeah, it's been around for crikey, well, way before I was in the hobby. Yeah, 30 odd years. People have been using it, Matt Paletta and
Yeah.
everybody else. So yeah, definitely something that people should look at.
Absolutely. And also, to Mossy's example, it reduces your cost substantially. You might have to use something else as a supplement with it and other elements, but it reduces the amount you need to dose of some of the key elements.
Lime water. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fishes, algae clips are amazing. Fair enough.
Sure.
Rowaphos. So why did you put Rowaphos on there?
Well, we didn't put it. Well, we put it on there because it's quite a get out of jail card for a lot of people. I think was what I would say,
And most people use it,
and a lot of people use it and have used it.
whether they want to admit it or not.
Yeah,
Don't they?
Yeah.
as in controlling nutrients.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Not anymore.
I mean, it certainly works, doesn't it, to bring down your phosphate? The issue is sometimes you can end up bringing it down too quickly.
yeah, there is that. I think. Yeah, it I don't think. Well, I'll be shocked if there's anybody watching this tonight that's never used it. Put it that way. It is a toilet roll of the reefing hobby. Was what I would use to describe it. It literally gets you out of the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what, should we have a poll on it? Because we haven't had a poll.
Okay then.
Find my poll.
I'm backing you on this one, mate.
You are?
I'm backing you. I think most people.
There's got to be. Everybody's got to have got that in there.
I mean,
either used it or got it in their cupboard right now.
I've used, if there was mines for Rowaphos, mate, I'd have bought quite a few.
Okay, so the poll is: have you used Rowa before? Now, it might not necessarily be just Rowaphos because there are other brands out there.
Yeah,
I mean, most people know of Rowaphos and use that, but there are others out there. But let's see what people think. So we'll come back to that in a couple of minutes. Let's see what else we've got on here.
If you haven't used Rowaphos, you've not been a reefer.
I'm glad that makes me a reefer because I've just
so much of it in the past.
I've used.
Just glad I don't use any of it anymore.
Them self-cleaning skimmers look good. The idea of not cleaning the skimmer cup is great. So my wife doesn't nag about the smell. Absolutely. If you clean out the skimmer cup, they are minging, aren't they?
Well, we went somewhere today that has a skimmer. Excuse me. That has a massive skimmer right next to the till in the fish shop, right on show, working away, doing its thing.
Anyway,
It smelled lovely.
it didn't smell right now.
Mate, it was rank.
Right, let's see what the poll is at the moment. At the moment, the poll is 88% yes. And we'll come back to it.
The people,
12% have said no. 12%. Come on, get your maths right.
It's Northern Air. It's Northern Air.
Right, what else we got? Turkey baster. Are you a reefer without one? I haven't got a turkey baster. I don't use a turkey baster.
I do use one. I use one. Yeah.
I think we know someone else who has.
Yeah. Jay loves to baste.
An extra long one.
He's got a whole range of them, doesn't he?
Based.
Bernard Manning turkey basters.
Yeah, you're right, John. Yeah, we talked about it on a number of occasions. And then Hayley, I'm gonna buy him one. A long turkey one. Thank you, Hayley.
I'll pick one. He'll like that.
Yeah.
I have got a turkey baster, but it's there for its purpose. It gets used once a year and
Under the pillow. Sorry, couldn't help.
And he has a go at me.
Thank you for that. Oh dear. Right, let's go back to the poll. Right, we're going to end the poll now.
You should use that on Clam Watch.
Hey, where's he going?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go. Right, so we've got 88% yes.
I'm surprised at that.
11% no.
Wow.
Never used a relief loss. Fair
Fair
play
play
if
to them.
they've run a tank without having to use it.
I wonder if it means they've used another form of.
Yeah.
Maybe. Right. Okay. So what else have we got? So we're coming towards the end of this, and we've got to pick our top 4 of best inventions in a minute. So we'll take 2 from the chat and 2 from 2 from us. Right. Where are we? Just going down.
Right,
Okay. My friend has got Hannah with the probes, and he has an indoor camera pointed at it, so he can see what it is and where it. Okay. So yeah, makes sense. Love my Apex. Saved me a few times now. Noticed my snail spawning in the tank the other week. Had a look, and the temp had spiked up to 27 degrees overnight.
Yeah, 27. Funny that, isn't it?
There's a few things that spawn over 27 by the looks of it.
Yeah. Snails being one of them.
No. Mate, he's worse than me tonight.
Honestly, it's like it is.
Like kindergarten. Red Sea products seem quality, even the packaging is good. Yeah, I must admit, I like Red Sea products, as we know. I like Roa Foss, Fauna Marine, Foss 0.04 is my go-to.
Don't need to anymore now.
I need boy, got a zero.
Right, so what noise? We'll hold on that one down, and we'll come back to that when we talk about the ones that are not so good.
Wonder if Daz has got the lights up and running yet. Lazy little toe rag.
He's got what? Sorry.
He bought my old Gem 4 XR15s off me at last year's Love to Reef.
Yeah.
Whether he's got them up yet or whether he's still slacking. But I think the warranty would have run out now, wouldn't it, by now, surely, yeah. Yeah, sorry, Dazza.
Absolutely. Right, okay. So for the poll, right, guys, from what everyone in the chat, from what you've heard, we can only put 4 options. What would we go for? So I think we go for temperature controller.
Yeah.
Is one of them. What else are we going to say?
I'm going to say ICP.
I would have said that, yeah.
ICP?
Fundamentals, isn't it, that?
Yeah, I mean, certainly in the chat, temperature controller was one that was popular.
Yeah.
Do you know what, though? It's probably massively popular, Paul, because it's something that's really vital and affordable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it feeds into the whole thing around your temperature is key, and if your heater fails or overheats, basically your tank crashes.
Yeah,
I'll give it enough time. Just going through what we said. Are we going to put auto tester? There's a few people in there saying about auto testers. We put that in.
Can do, yeah.
I'm just reading the comments now. Yeah, you can do. Yeah.
LED kick the hobby on.
I definitely
miles,
can.
don't they?
How many have we got?
Auto top off. I don't think I put. Yeah, auto top off. I think.
ATO on it. Definitely have ATO on it.
Right. So we've got temperature controller, ICP, auto tester, and auto top off. So
one more.
I can only put 4 in there. I don't know how Jay managed 5.
All right, put 4 in there. No problem.
Right. Okay, so I'm just going to put what is the best invention. I've got temperature controller, ICP, auto tester, and auto top off. Right. So that is that one going. Right. Let's go back. Move the screen on. So now we're going to talk about some of the worst inventions. So, do you want to start us off, Tom? All right.
Comes to me.
Yeah, good shout, Paul. Well done. Yeah,
always me.
I don't want to hog.
good hostmanship, Paul. Go on, Tom. Off you go. Kick us off, son. Kick us off.
Well, the reef fix was definitely a bad egg for me, which was the one I was struggling to think about earlier when I was messaging you. The polymer, the see-through polymer bead that you heat up like to a ridiculous temperature in a. You have to put it in a saucepan of boiling water, I think, from memory, to sort of to melt it. and it turns into like almost like a thick sort of gelatinous super glue sort of residue.
Word.
You like gelatinous?
Good word.
You like
That's a
that?
great word.
Good word, sir.
It's very viscous.
Oh, here he goes. He's swallowed the dictionary today.
Who are you? Get that turkey baster quick. And you've literally got, I think, from memory, something like daft like 10 seconds before it solidifies.
Dropped it twice by then.
And it can't be good putting it on a coral, especially if you've fragged a coral and you've got like exposed, tissue or skeleton or whatever, and you put in something that's red on it. I just think it's a bad egg for me. If anybody remembers Paul Merton Room 101, that goes straight in Room 101 for me. It goes straight in Room 101, lever for me.
And I think onto that is the one at the top right hand corner, which was the Max Spect glue.
Yeah.
That first version of that, I used that and it just went in the bin. It was awful. It just kept on gunking up. It didn't work properly. So kind of on a similar lines, but that was really poor as well.
You could have done your mastic around your bathtub with that. What did you chuck it away for?
I wouldn't even attempt to do it with that.
Yeah, just throwing money down a drain.
On that example, it deserved it.
Around the silicon of a bath instead of candles, I've fragged clubs.
Like tea candles.
I put the reef. I bought the reef cam about whenever it came out.
Hang on, check. She's upstairs. Have you told her you chucked it?
Yeah. No, I didn't chuck it. I moved it on.
Oh,
About I bought the reef cam quite a number of years ago. Great concept. It was just way ahead of its time, to be fair, in terms of the technology on it. I think the camera from memory was really poor quality, and the
an early GoPro.
It was if you ordered a GoPro from Wish, that's what you got basically. It wasn't very good, so it didn't hang around for much longer. I moved it on because all you could see when you tuned in on your phone. So the idea was you had an underwater camera.
Yeah,
it connected to a module. The module had had a power source, and that connected to your Wi-Fi router. And you downloaded an app, and you could access the camera from memory from smartphone anywhere around the world. You could look at your tank. But it was like looking at your tank through beer goggles, basically. It wasn't very good. So, and things like
some things look better through beer goggles, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah. But no, it was things like if you got a lot of flow, any reflections, and again, depending on your speed, the speed of your internet connection. Your fish swimming, everything was just so distorted, and it was just
Basically, I've lasted longer than that reef cam.
Yeah.
So it's definitely that one.
That was
Right. Before we move on, I'm going to go back to the poll and end that poll. So we have. So we've got auto top off on 44%, temperature controller on 25%. ICP on 25%, and auto testers at 6%. So the auto top off is the winner, which actually probably isn't a surprise given the importance and probably the simplicity of it. And it's been around for years as well. So thank you for those people who voted on that. So auto top off makes sense. Right, coming back to this, there was a comment from Darren about Mobius. So Mobius not being Wi-Fi. So basically, you got to stand next to your tank.
Yeah.
Which in this day and age, you could say is unforgivable because it ain't difficult, as we was discussing earlier on. Wi-Fi have been around for years and years and years. You look at the technology that Ecotech has actually originated over the years. It shouldn't be difficult to copy or get a chip or whatever you use. It must be a chip for Wi-Fi and have that. So it's a bit disappointing you spend all that money because they do quality gear and not to have Wi-Fi on their kit.
I think if a load of people was to drop Ecotech for another brand and they saw their profits massively reducing, you'd probably find that Mobius become Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's nuts, isn't it? Because the quality of their stuff. I mean, I've got lights that are 9 years old, not good as gold. I've got MP40 that one of them's lasted 8 years, as good as gold, and yet you can't get that right. That's pretty poor. But yeah, I think it's a fair point. Whether that's just complacency, because I think people will buy it regardless, I don't know. Because
A bit of arrogance.
it ain't difficult, is it?
Not in today's world.
Yeah.
I could make chemical scientists over here.
Let's have a look to see we got. I haven't. Someone's haven't. See, someone else hasn't got a Taoski baster.
Don't know what you're missing, mate. It's got a lot of benefits. Oh yes,
Features and benefits.
Absolutely. Got one here for Polyp Lab. So
we think of snake oils, and there was one. What was? I'm going to. There was an American company that began with A.
I'm sure it's ATM.
You talking about Vibrant?
Not A, Vibrant. That was it. Because A sounds so
No,
much
it's ATM Vibrant. So the company's, I think it's ATM.
So it was ATM.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. So,
oil, didn't it get fined? It did the reverse of what it said it was going to do, and then they double checked it against another companies, and it was basically the exact same or something like that. I remember
there was a lot of noise about it not have the ingredients that it said it would have, or it had something that it shouldn't have. So they said it was misleading as a product because the ingredients it used or the chemicals it used was not on the label, and it was a hack of something else, and it was really simple. I can't remember the detail. I don't know what happened in the end of it because it seemed to just go away.
Yeah, it seemed to fade out, didn't it?
Yeah.
No.
So Hayley, what are you talking about? Is that the Polyp Lab that you use if you have ick?
I mean Polymedic.
Yes. Yeah. Are you talking about that one or another one? We'll come back onto that. And there's one that's on your list, which is the NIOS Talk. Most annoying piece of crap thing falls apart, and you get a sump full of media from it.
Yeah, I've had it. That's done it to me more times than it's not done it to me. And I was saying this to Rather earlier. Well, the first media access I got was the cracky Bubble Magus 90, I think it's called, and it's literally a cylindrical reactor with a AC pump underneath, and had a little sort of twisty sort of fastener at the bottom, at the top, with a dial that would control the flow coming out of it, as in open and closed. And they were so effective for how much they were. But then these came out, and it was the new kid on the block, and everybody wanted them, and I bought one, and like that comments just said, it was an absolute pain in the arse. And the amount of times that I've had roller or carbon emptying the sump, and then you've had to, all of a sudden you've gone from a 20-minute water change on a Saturday afternoon, and now you're having to clean out your sump. Yeah, nightmare.
I find whatever reactor you use, you'll get a little bit of spillage on roller foss anyway.
Yeah.
There's no way you could, but I mean, to have it all pile in.
The design of it is just not. It's just not that great. Because as soon as you start pulling up, you haven't got it in position. You pull it up, and literally you pull the canister or the cylinder out, and all the media is emptied in your sump. And it's there's a few swear words definitely when that happens.
I can imagine that's all you need, isn't it?
It's called me most of them today. I know.
The other one I've got, which I think is at the top left-hand corner, which is the Majano wand, or the stuff that's supposed to zap or burn through Aptasia and Majano, because I'm not convinced. I haven't seen hardly anyone say that those things work.
This is before,
and they're not cheap.
Used one, never used one.
No, I haven't, but there's a couple of people that posted Instagram and messaged me when I put it up to say that they've either used it or they've friends that have seen it or whatever, and they just seemed to be a total waste. I don't know if anyone in the chats had used those before.
No, I think Aptasia stuff I've ever used is like Joe's Juice and like Aptasia X. I've never really used anything electrical or putty or putty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Copper band, fine fish.
Yeah, so I've put that on there. Right, I'm just going to go down to some of the chat. We're talking about vibrant. The vibrant bottles now have a load of warning signs on the bottles.
Done then, could he? Because he's still trading.
They still sell them, don't they? And Haley was yes to the
Medic.
Product Lab Medic. Yeah. And someone else is saying Vibrant have changed the labels to show what it actually contains now. So probably that's why they can still sell it. I'm interested to see how much they actually sell now, because it did go quite wide in terms of people saying it's a bit out of order.
I might have settled out a court rent all over that.
Yeah. Many products don't show the ingredients. I don't think the blue bottles, do they? Zeovit don't show the ingredients, do they? Or do they? I didn't think they did.
No, I don't think they. I think they're quite, particularly with the bacteria strains like the Zeovit. They don't give away their
secret sauce.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Secret recipe.
No.
Yeah, and Haley's. Yeah, that's the thing though. I mean, quite clearly for reefing, you don't need to show the ingredients.
But listen. If you go Levi Roots, don't divulge what's in reggae sauce either. So it's good for Levi.
Absolutely right. It really bugs me when people say on these forums, use Polyp Lab Medic, use garlic, use this, that. The dreamers.
Weren't garlic proven to actually harm fish in small doses as well? People used to say it really helps. I'm sure I've read somewhere that actually garlic is not that great for fish. Maybe I've got it wrong. Sure,
I've seen a lot of people say mixing garlic to help them to get some vitamins, or it helps them eat, but I don't know in terms of does it do them any harm or not.
I mean, it's never done me any harm, and I eat a lot of it.
Right, I'm going to go back up to the top. There's other comments. Is there any others on there, Tom? As I'm just going through the comments, you want to?
Yeah, there was really crap.
Something's crap on this.
Yes, there was really poor. Frag racks with the terrible suckers. I was talking to Alex about it earlier. You know, the ones that you try and stick on the inside of the glass, and you put a frag on it, and they just drop straight off onto the sandbed.
I did that.
Yeah. And there was a thing. There was a fad going around years ago, and everybody was going to like Home Bargains and B&M and getting toothbrush holders and using them instead. And seriously, and they were just as bad because they just won't last 5 minutes. Anyway,
how funny.
Yeah,
I think someone put a comment in here somewhere around about those suckers are rubbish.
Yeah.
Much better with the magnets.
Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely right. So what else have we got on there? What's that blue one to the left hand side?
it's a manual filter roller, so you have to manually roll it.
Right, which was one of the original DD when DD brought out their the Clarity. That the original one had I think it was a manual roller, and then they brought it out with obviously the auto roller, and then you could buy one or the other. And now they don't do it, which makes perfect sense. Why would you want to manually do that? It defeats the object, really, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that's what that TMC as well.
That's the reef Clam I mentioned. Yeah,
there we go. Yeah. That was it. Advertisers bacteria. So this must be vibrant base. It turned out to be an algae.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, an algae site. Yeah, I thought it was for algae. Yeah, I thought it was for algae. It's made by the same company that made Persian.
And there we go. When I'm reading saying Mobius is Wi-Fi, you need to turn it on. The Wi-Fi is linking the lights. I've never used it, but it does have it. Well, there we go. Didn't know that. But why should you have to turn? So how do you turn it on the lights? And I'll have to look into that. Not, I must admit, I don't use Mobius very often because with my lights and the power heads, I just set them up and just let them go. So I don't really go into that. I go into the Red Sea app more because of the monitoring on the ATO and that. So you're having a look, are you, Rylan? A minute.
Oh,
now it will say it can't. No, it will say. I know it will say it can't. Sorry, we cannot connect to this tank. Try moving closer to the tank. Select a different tank or try again.
I think what one arm reefer is that you can do it.
I've got to be near my tank to.
Maybe do that. Set it up.
Okay. I don't know. So maybe worth. I'm gonna have a look at that to see how you can turn it on your lights. But you should. I mean, if you have to mess around and do it, either way, it's not good, is it?
Not
But-
whenever you have like other companies, for example, are just that easy.
Yeah, but I do think there's a lot of things still now. As great as the sort of the idea is, or the invention to make our lives easier, I do think that after it's so much more complicated than it needs to be. It's not the most user friendly, is it? It's not as plug and play as it's designed to be.
I'd struggle if it was really hard.
I think they're a lot easier than used to be. So I remember setting up my first Apex.
And
That was really challenging to do. But when I found on this one, setting stuff up on this with the Red Sea app, the thing is trying to get it to connect. So if you get the connection, it just talks you through screen by screen. So I think things are easier. Quite often it's trying to get the Wi-Fi connection is the problem.
I can remember throwing one of my first reef links across the lounge, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, when the old Ecotech stuff, you used to have to put a wire, didn't you, from your lights into your laptop, because that's the only way you can connect it. When I had the Gen 2, that's how you did it. And that was before the Reef Link. And then when the Reef Link came in, that was a pain as well. As you say, the connectivity on it wasn't the
You want that blue circle, but you're just getting that stupid green and amber circle moving around all the time. Anyway.
Well, I still use it. I've got my Gen 3 light in the garage because it's Gen 3. It's got no Wi-Fi, no Mobius in it. So I still have the Reef Link and it's switched on at the moment. Not that I hardly ever, I very rarely go into it, but I just have it switched on more by habit than anything else. Because I never do anything. It's the only device I've got that's connected to it. But it is a pain when you want to do something with it. So I don't touch the lights at all, because the thought of having to use the Reef Link, going into your PC and having to program it, it was always a balls ache.
Yeah.
Right.
At the time, it was probably cutting edge.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you're talking technology of 8-10 years ago.
You're ball ache now because things have progressed and they're a lot easier than what that. Do you know what I mean?
They had a disco mode.
I've still got that.
Disco mode.
Yes.
On your lights.
Clouds and thunder.
You're not too young to remember disco.
Yeah, I can remember disco. I'm just saying, disco mode. No need.
But not, why would you have that on your lights? It's just going to scare the fish.
Exactly, but you did. You could say disco mode. The lightning mode and the disco mode.
It's a bit weird, but there we go. Right, okay, what have we got here? Anything else? Many products don't show their ingredients.
The price of some of the trace elements, which is what that is up there for, that Reefs Elements bottle of manganese.
Yeah, we're talking to Liam earlier, weren't we? We were saying that there's some trace elements out there on the shelf that people that we're all buying that are significantly diluted, and you can go direct to the source, APC Pure, buy stuff, and
the individual elements.
Yeah.
So you talk about DIY and yourself on some of the more basic elements compared to how much it costs to buy these.
But other brands as well. I mean, there's other brands that you compare against other brands, makes sense, that are a lot more concentrated, so therefore they might be slightly more expensive, but would last you a lot longer. Yeah.
Even if something like where a company offers the powder and the liquid, if the powder just lasts substantially longer.
Oh, definitely.
And it's just playing on, I suppose, if you've got a small tank, and then also people's laziness is the right word.
I can remember when I was trying to up the nitrates, and I got the nitrate up. You remember the one that you've got?
Yeah.
And I was saying that it was one. Oh God, I'm putting me on the spot here.
The Nios.
The Nios one was like 1 cup for 1 part per million nitrate in something like 100 litres. No, it was significantly more concentrated. It was 10 times. Can you remember I put it on the group chat? The Nios one was 10 times stronger than the Reefs Elements one.
Telling me about this,
but they were, they were the same price.
Yeah.
So basically, you're getting 10 times more for the same amount of money.
Yeah.
The Nios one, I think, is 1 litre, and it's 20 quid. I'm sure it is. It's a big old bottle. That's why I think it's 1 litre. You don't get many that are 1 litre big. I'm sure it is. And I thought it was pretty cheap. It lasts a long time.
I think it's a massive subject, that, because any money you can save in this hobby that could go towards something else, because it's, you know, iron loaded and like everything just racks up to an amount where
it all adds up, doesn't it? Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think the Trident's good. I either read or saw somewhere about, I think some geezer was absolutely slating the cost of the Trident elements.
Well, the reagents.
What they are, yeah. For what they are, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the nitrate up, yeah, that I was talking about,
Yeah.
is 1 mil in 100 litres raises the tank by 1 ppm, part per million. Yeah. The Reef's elements, Nitro Plus,
Yeah.
yeah, is 10 mil for 1 ppm in 100 litres. So that is 10 times stronger than that for the same money.
Bigger bottle. What's the size of the bottle? You got 1 litre versus what? 500?
500. But if you look at it online, there's not much difference in price.
Yeah.
But this is 10 times more potent.
Yeah, and twice as much.
It's going to last you so much more longer, which is why I bought it. Because I was just like,
Absolutely, the size of your tank. Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
A Reef's elements that love to reef.
Yes.
They're going to love you.
I mean, I like Reef's elements. Manganese I use, but it's like that value for money, isn't it? You're paying for the brand, and it's kind of, and it just shows you have to shop around. So the manganese I really like. I probably wouldn't use another one. I don't know how expensive it is compared to others, but in that situation on that one, I bought the Nias one because when I looked, it was the best value, and also it was recommended to me when I went into AAC. Paul said about that, and I think there was someone in the chat here that said about using the Phos Plus, because I use the Phos Plus and the Nitrate Plus. I don't use it anymore, but I need it at that time. If your elements are out of whack, instead of bringing the phosphate down, I took the nitrates up, so it was in, and then brought them both down equally. So that's how I did it, and it worked pretty well. Otherwise, you can't always bring them down as you want.
You pay also for the trust you have in that company, because if someone went, right, it's that mixed with that over that time, like, who would trust themselves to really mix up whatever trace element they need? Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I wouldn't trust myself to mix up all the elements. I know that people do. It's a fraction of the price. So I know I'm paying a premium for the pre-made solution. But to me, that's worth it, because I wouldn't trust myself to do it. And also I haven't got the inclination, to be fair.
Yeah. $15.95 a litre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse the size of the bottle. $21.95 a litre. 10 times stronger than that and cheaper.
Yeah.
Rest in case. That's all I'm saying. If you look around, we all, you know, oh, I'll have one of those, and, you know, put it in the basket, whatever, buy it. And yeah, sometimes
get to the till and how much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. John said he uses Mobius for radions on Wi-Fi, and one on Reef is actually saying it's in the settings.
So
there we go.
Oh, he sent me. Let's see what.
Yeah. And then we've got here about Paul, can I add lead to Love to Reef? Yeah, so what I'm going to do, so the group you're talking about on here is the WhatsApp group for the frag swap. I'll be adding a lot of people to that soon in one go, because for those people that are going to Love Reef, there's a frag swap. There's a WhatsApp group already set up from last year, and the people that are going this year are already starting to swap frags. So when I get some time over this weekend or during the week, I'll add all the people that have bought tickets to that frag swap WhatsApp group.
Yes, I have got a ticket. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. Have you handed over 20 English pounds?
I have, Paul.
Cash. So yes.
Or is he on the guest list?
No, no one's getting freebies.
Make him pay for it.
He has paid in cash last weekend, to be fair.
To make sure it passed the checks.
So yeah, over the next few days, I'll sort that out. And tickets are still available if anyone in the chat.
We need to do a poll on this before it's 10 o'clock on the worst.
Yes, I'll be 30 seconds. So loads of people in the chat have already bought tickets. Thank you very much for those people that have. There's still tickets available. So message me on Instagram. Hopefully, you're going to be announcing the first guest speaker this week. I've got a call with them on Tuesday.
It's a Friday night exclusive.
No, because it's not confirmed yet. If they turn around and say no, I look a mug.
And saying Jill's on the door again is not a Friday night exclusive because everyone knows Jill will be on the door.
So there's no Friday night exclusives at the moment. There might be next week, but not this week.
You had that ready for me knowing I was on tonight.
Sorry.
Shocking.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else we want to talk about on stuff that's basically poor? And then we'll choose our top 4.
Well, a couple of people have commented recently complaining about the recent innovated Seache heaters with the app that you need to control it. I think Alex Brooks mentioned it. He took one back.
Richie's
Reef. Someone that's mentioned one.
Richie's Reef.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Well, wait. How far back?
Alex took his back the next day, and I think Rich took it back 2 days.
Really?
I think an absolute nightmare to use. And there's more than one person saying that, is there?
I don't know. You know Richie's Reef, who comes to Love to Reef. He came with his old man last year. Do you remember him?
Yeah, he's coming this year as well.
Yeah, I spoke to him today, and he said that he found that heater toot.
Really? Oh dear. Right. Okay. Let's go to the poll and start a poll. So, worst reef inventions. Okay. So, what we're putting down as our top 4. They don't necessarily be brand.
Well, one brand seems to win most crud, doesn't it?
So, we're going to say overpriced products.
Yeah, I think that's a massive case in literally everything, isn't it?
Well, do you see the video that Reef Dog, to be fair, did a couple of weeks ago with the battery backup? And it was
battery.
It was a wheelchair battery.
Right?
Yeah, you know, a mobility scooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is inside.
Wow.
You can buy them for like 50 quid off the internet and do it yourself.
And they're kind of 200 quid or 150 quid the batteries, something like that. The battery backup. I've got a couple of them.
And we'll pay it. We sit there and go, oh, what a diamond.
It's for a mobility scooter.
Oh, good old Ecotech. I love Ecotech, so I am one of them, you know.
That don't mean you can push anybody off a scooter and run off with the battery, you know.
No, I have done that before.
There'll be a spate of them. My battery's been taken.
Do you remember, funny enough, a lot of that price might be, do you remember the first Love to Reef where matey said about the chips? They had trouble getting the chips.
Yes.
And I know people who had in the car industry, and they were saying that all the big manufacturers were all asking anyone they were all buying up second-hand microwaves and fridges all over the world just to get the chips out of them.
Yeah.
Like, push the price of them up. Don't shoot the messenger.
Right. So what we got? Overpriced products. We'll put the Maggiano what? No. The reef glue. The reef glue is one. Right. We need 2 others. What else was?
We've got to put the toothbrush holder, aka frag rack.
Honestly, I'm so embarrassed.
The toothpaste.
Toothbrush holder, sorry.
So embarrassed.
Toothbrush holder frag rack.
Yeah, frag rack. And I'd probably put the torque on there as well, Paul.
Okay, the torque. Right, I'm just going to go through, just go a quick glance at the comments in case there's anything in there that should replace maybe something else, but I think we've got it. What about Vibrant? We talked about that a lot. Should that replace one of the 4 we got there?
Well, it's fraud, basically, ain't it? It's never great in a hobby, is it?
Well, no, it doesn't help, does it? Right, what do we replace? We put Vibrant in there. Do we replace it against overpriced products, the reef glue, the toothbrush holder, or torque?
Well, don't take the toothbrush holder away from him, for God's sake.
I won't do that.
So he's like a bit of a sore head as it is. Don't take
Take the roof glue away, because I don't think it's
roof glue.
The reef.
Hey, what's the matter with the roof?
He knows something you don't. Right, okay. So we've got overpriced products, Vibrant, the toothbrush holder, and the talk. We're out of time, but we're going to overrun for a couple of minutes. So we've got a minute.
Isn't it?
Right, okay. So that's up there. Right, let's go through some of the comments. So if you could vote, that would be absolutely fantastic. What's he laughing at?
Do you know what? Bless him. So, he said about don't say someone put in there, don't say the new CJ heater. I've only just got one and I've only just started out in the hobby. You know, you just think classic Michael. That'd be me going, oh.
Here we go. Don't say.
There you go. Yeah, Ian, that made me laugh, mate.
Oh dear. You might want to get a backup. But I'd get a backup. I'd always say have a backup heater anyway, regardless, to be fair. Because
Message me, say you're his biggest fan. He's got about 400 heaters. I'm sure he'll post you one for nothing.
He's got dozens of them. He needs to change them every year.
He's probably got that one.
Yeah.
Just off the collection.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Heidi's talking about the Reef Talk
Battery backup.
alternative. Telegram has great videos and replacements.
It might have been him I see then. Telegram. It might have been him I see talking about the reagents.
Yeah, take it back.
There you go.
But yeah, always have a spare heater because sod's law, it's going to bust when the shop's not open.
Yeah.
And then you can, and hopefully also if you get a temperature controller as well, because I would not trust the thermostats.
That's some of the best value for money you will ever get in this hobby as long as you're in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
DIY manganese dosing reef tank. No, he's not. No, Randy Holmes. No, I haven't got him as a guest. It'd be brilliant if we could. But no.
You know what? Are you able to answer a question? Is any of the guest speakers international?
No.
It's like guess who, isn't it? Has he got earrings? Has he got a moustache?
Don't know.
Has he got time?
Now I can't. I mean, Interzoo is the week before, so there is a possibility that international people go from Interzoo and come over and then end up being at Love to Reef, but I don't know. So there is some names floating around, but I've got no idea whether those people.
Is your Dutch coming over again?
I don't think so. I don't think he can make it this time.
Right.
I've already spoken to him. But yeah.
Right. Okay.
Let's have a look at the poll. Right, so it's pretty easy. We've got 50% on overpriced products.
Yeah, really?
17% on, it's changing slightly. You got 16% on Vibrant, 16% on toothbrush, and 16% on talk. So I think the clear winner was 50. I'm going to end the poll now. Is overpriced products. Probably not a surprise, is it? Because how many times have we spoken about that's a bit of a rip-off? It puts a reefing price on it and you had a few pounds, bloody, bloody, blah. So probably not. That's not an invention, really, is it? It defeats the object of it, but hey, got a bit of license on that. And then we've got a question, who's going to Aquafest? So you two guys are going to Aquafest tomorrow. Liam's obviously going. He's going with you, isn't he?
He is.
I've got a sneaking feeling Paul's going to make a last-minute entrance, Tom. What do you reckon? He's going to bomb it up the motorway and meet us there.
I wouldn't have thought so. I had enough driving last week, and I'm going to Birmingham on Sunday, so that's all I need.
You could come stay with Tom for a week. You've done the spare room lovely, by the way. Shout out.
Okay.
Shout out, Az.
Right.
If she wants to review on TripAdvisor,
She'll get one, don't worry.
Right, I think we're done. Drippy, it's been a pleasure as a surprise to have you on the live stream, so thank you.
put a face to the name, everybody.
But this is what it feels like to play at Wembley. How amazing, eh? Loved it, mate. Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having us.
Brilliant. Tom, thank you for everything. And more importantly, thank you for...
Happy Easter, everybody. Have a good bank holiday.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Cheers, Paul.
Cheers.
Take care.
So,
Bye.
have a great weekend, everyone.